big. There's only so much you can do once it starts moving. It's not like you can turn the wheel like a car and correct yourself. There's a lot of mass, a lot of weight, and things just don't move that quickly. And plus, you've just got water and land. You don't have a whole lot of things that you can use to help navigate.
Right, Vinny, you were a captain of a freight ship. What was your experience?
In a previous life?
What was your experience?
Yeah, it's a little difficult to make sharp turns.
Okay, that was from an expert. It's a little difficult.
Not impossible.
I mean, you do what you gotta do. I mean, if you're experienced, you figure it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, now, Jeff, there was a couple times I had to work on the thing here. Did you mention Suez pilots at all about how they do that? Okay, so what happens when a ship goes through? They have a Suez employee or some kind of pilot, not an air pilot, but someone who gets on board. They meet up with you while you're going. A pilot hops on the ship, goes to the captain's place.
Quarters?
Well, I imagine that's where they sleep. Wherever they steer the boat with the ship, I don't know. My boat terminology is not the best. The poop deck, but
I'm going to guess not that.
I like that.
Thank you. And they're kind of like
how about the bridge?
Oh, that might be it.
That might be it. There are probably people out there going, "No, I got you're idiots," but. So there's someone actually from the Suez Canal actually goes on the ship and navigates through the canal for you. But so it's his fault. It's the Suez Canal's fault. Okay, but here's the thing: the captain is always in charge. Always, even if someone from the Suez Canal is on board, you're still in charge because there's something called the Master's Overriding Authority, always giving the captain the right to step in and go, "Hey, no, something's not going right. We have to stop." Figure things out, go through this direction, whatever. So the captain always has command, even in the Suez Canal, even when there's canal employees on board who are navigating for you. So you can't really blame that person.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I understand the captain is always captain of his ship, but these guys do nothing but go through this canal. So you would think a wise captain would think that they know it better than he does.
You would think a wise captain would have seen something going wrong at the very second it started going wrong. It's tough to say. None of us here know anything about.
But again, the guy who's from the Suez thing does it so many times. I mean, you're talking about a captain who does it once a year as compared to a guy that does it once a week.
Sure, maybe.
You would think that
I don't know.
And I'm not. I mean, I understand the captain's got to be in charge of his ship, but yeah, there's probably blame to go around.
So as of right now, the SCA, the Suez Canal Authority, has a claim against the ship's owner. Oh crap! I have to look up how to pronounce this. Shoekisen. If I remember from when I was listening to things, it was Shoekisen, something like that. A Japanese company. They have a claim in for $916 million for salvage costs, loss of reputation, and obviously more. But yeah, $916 million claim against them. So we have you under arrest. The ship is not going anywhere until you pay us that money. They are currently still in this stage working out settlements. The crew cannot leave the ship, and the cargo is still on board, although the charter company, Evergreen, that's on the side of the ship, is trying to find a way to get the cargo off that ship onto another ship so they can finish the route. Super complicated. This is a legal nightmare for someone.
No, this is because there's just so much money involved.
So who pays for it then? Who is responsible for paying the claim? Because get ready for this, right? Okay. So, who pays for it? The ship usually has two insurance types. The hull and machinery insurance, which is for salvaging and damage. And then you have the protection and indemnity insurance. But they already rejected their initial claim that the Suez Canal does. And so they're in this battle. It's a nightmare. But then, here's where it gets really messed up. It's a very diverse ship, okay? The ship was made in Panama. It's a Panamanian ship. The owner of the ship is a Japanese company known as Shoekisen, The owner of a ship will pay for the expenses, pay for the upkeep and all that stuff. Pretty much, they're paying for it, right? Then you have the tech management on the Ever Given, which is a company called BSM, a German company, which is pretty much helps everything run consistently, smoothly. It handles their certifications, supplies, tech support. It's kind of like
I can see the Germans doing that.
So basically, the way I look at it is it's kind of like a company, right? So you have a manager, and then you have a owner. So the owner pays everything, but the manager pretty much runs things, right? So that's pretty much how you look at that. So you have the German company who's running it, and then you have the owner, which is the Japanese company, and then Panamanians who built the ship. The cargo on board, Chinese. The charter, the company who is leasing the ship to do the work, the Taiwanese company, Evergreen, and the crew are Indian. So, who pays for this?
Wasn't it an Italian captain?
I heard it was an Indian captain.
Oh,
that was from like one source. That's where I got pretty much all that from. So it could be. I'm not sure who the captain was. I'll have Sean look that up right now.
Well, it's obviously not going to be the person with the cargo because they would have nothing to do with steering the ship.
Well, right, but they can ask the cargo companies to cover the cost.
I'm sure they can ask all they want.
Well, sure.
Will you pay us?
Well, it's kind of like, okay, if you want things to get going, can you all chip in and let's get this thing going?
Right, you can ask.
I understand. And so that's what the Japanese company can't ask that. And then the charter, so basically what happens is the charter company Evergreen basically leases the ship, right? It's not theirs, but they're paying to use it. So they can instead, like what really sucks is that because the ship is suspended from activity, they can say, we're not using it right now. We're not paying you. And from what I saw, again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a maritime lawyer, I don't know. So from the sources that I saw, they don't have to be paying right now. We're not using it. There was a situation that happened.
Right. So it all comes down to, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to what happened and who is at fault.
I imagine the more
That's
they
why
find
everybody's
out,
trying to point
things
the
are
fingers.
cleared up a lot.
Because it's just like, I mean, if your neighbor's tree were to fall on your house after a windstorm, that's an act of God. You're kind of SOL. You're going to have to pay for the damages to your own house. Unless you can document that something went on with that tree that your neighbor was aware of and didn't take care of.
They were negligent.
And they were negligent. So
if the tree was already falling
and they were put on notice and they knew that it was a problem. See, all those things have to line up. And that's kind of where the problem is with this whole, the crew. They're not going to say a darn word because that could put them on the line for the liability.
Right, but it falls on something on that ship.
Maybe.
I mean, it's not the Suez Canal's fault.
It may be nobody's fault. That's where the act of God comes in. If investigators can find no human error anywhere along the line, they have no recourse except to say it was windy. It was turned at the right way with the right amount of weight on it. I mean, because this is one of the biggest ships in the world.
You're basically pushing wind against the wall. It's a huge ass ship.
Yeah, but it may have been just enough at just the right time, at just the right turn, at just the right tide. I mean, there's so many factors that change every single time. If they can't pin it on somebody, they're almost forced to say, yes, it was an act of God. Can they replicate whatever happened then? Probably not. But if they can't say that it wasn't somebody or something that happened, part of the ship broke down, some of the navigation. But, I mean, one of the first things I heard was that there were no electronic problems on the ship. There was nothing mechanically that had gone wrong, which left it to a man-made problem or, again, the act of God thing.
I imagine we're going to find out a lot.
Eventually.
Whenever it is they want to release
But this, we are talking such huge money. This is going to be a long time getting settled.
I mean, this claims for almost $1 billion. Well, wait.
Yeah, you can buy a lot of lawyers, and the lawyers can spend a lot of money.
Which also doesn't seem like that much.
Not when you're talking about the money that they're, because I mean, again, you're right. I mean, we don't know how much money was on that ship, right? But If you
now
if
Billy,
you hold on-
you're talking $1 billion there, but what about every one of the ships that was stacked up and lost money?
well, that's part of the cost that they're talking about. It's you have the salvage costs, which oh my god, paying the people to excavate.
Well, you
not
said almost
excavate.
$1 billion in salvage.
No,
You said 917,000.
918 million. That includes salvage, lost reputation, and more.
That's just one lawsuit
That's the entire claim. They need that much. They need
from
that
one
much money.
person.
That ship. This ship is being arrested for whoever. Well, I'm guessing the Japanese company. I'm guessing they're the ones who are kind of at the spearhead. They own the ship. But, and again, I know we said it a couple times, people, we're not, this is really just a discussion at this point. We're not lawyers, not maritime people in any way. This is just us speculating as landlubbers.
Yeah, I don't think that's anywhere close to what the total amount of the claims will be.
Maybe. What are your thoughts, Vinny?
Yeah, it just seems like that's not enough. Like that's,
I'm sure it's not.
Like,
so if there's a certain amount of money, we know this is huge money for every ship, right? Huge money.
Yeah, if we're
that's
talking
they're
50
carrying.
ships a day and it is down for 8 days.
And it's 50 days, right?
I mean,
Or 50 ships a day. That's what
Yeah.
they do.
I mean, if we're talking, let's just say, Billy, you said 12%. Jeff, you said that was a little low. Let's just say 15%.
Sure.
15% of trade, travel, goods of an entire Earth's trade of however many multi-hundreds of trillions of dollars. Yeah, like, I don't know.
The estimates I heard were between $3 and $6 billion a day was being affected. World economy was being affected by this stoppage.
I did see that. So, because someone said it was like 400 million an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
The person that I saw, there was a source, it said, that seems a bit high. $400 million an hour seems crazy. I mean, they're doing 50 ships a day. So that means they have to be carrying an average of like $200 million dollars worth of cargo every single time. Which is obviously not true because not only do you have full ships of cargo going through, you have empty ships of cargo or no cargo, empty ships coming back. Not every ship is going to be sitting there full of cargo. You will have empty ships going through as well. So the 400 million per hour, that's probably high.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, we're not economists. We're not.
Right. Either way, though, what we can
Who's
always
to say how many ships are on the waterway right now as we speak? Like, I don't know.
And that's true. None of us really know, but we all know that's one thing we have gathered from this research is that, I maybe didn't know how devastating it was, but dude, that is devastating to have a ship stuck there for six days.
Well, this isn't going to
sucks.
answer like how many percentage.
And there were hundreds of ships. Around 350, I want to say, ships that were just sat there waiting. I'm not talking about the ones that decided to go around. 250 ships waiting to get through. So not only do you have the cost of that are being blocked, you have the cost of these other ships and the people that they were going to. So let's say they were going to some store that now doesn't have their shipments. Now they're getting affected.
I wonder
it's intense.
I wonder if, like, do you send your full cargo shipment on that path? Or do you hold a little bit back just in case and send it a different route?
They might now.
I
doubt they send it on a different route, but they probably have extra in store.
It's all about selling what you have as quickly as you can sell it.
It's true.
And getting it as quickly as
But
you
if
can.
but if you're looking at risk factor, if you send everything you own on one ship one way, I mean, what's the what are the chances that something like that happens?
Not much. I mean, I think in 2015, I want to say 2015 there was another ship that got stuck, but they released that within a few hours, I believe.
But I mean, just look at the magnitude of that, though. I mean, we're not talking. Yes, we in Western, geography are not going to hear about, some little puddle jumper that loses its entire hull. Yes, it took the ship larger than the Empire State Building carrying 20,000 shipping
a little less,
containers.
but yes.
to cause this.
Yeah, and it just happened to be. I mean, well, I wouldn't say it happened to be the size that could block the canal because I mean it was on a diagonal. It wasn't like it went completely sideways and then it stopped. No, I mean it ran aground. I mean it was
But it stopped the bigger ships from being able to pass.
No, it stopped everything.
Everything
it was
completely
literally side
blocked.
to side.
Nothing.
Nope.
Not even the smaller.
Nope.